Hey there, Scoobies. This is another episode of Mixed Feelings for me. On the one hand, we get Ethan, Ripper, and Penny, so yay. On the other, I find the reveal of Rupert's past and the link to Igon to be a little disappointing, serving as more of a monster of a week than something a little more poignant. I'll forgive the showrunners on this occasion, as they have something a little more special in hand for us. The episode opens on a well-dressed, scared gentleman being chased by a demon, zombie-like woman. Giles is being regaled by Buffy's noise?
Music!
I know music! Music has notes. This is noise.
Once again, Giles becomes my spirit animal.
Wonderful. You work on your muscle tone while my brain dribbles out of my ears.
I enjoy the woefully true sentiment here that Giles is considered to be old and a fuddy-duddy and completely out of sync with the youth. Poor Philip is throttled to death outside, unknown to our watcher and his protege. After the credits, Giles is having a very metal nightmare. Buffy and Willow are playing a game with another fairly outdated reference.
It's just before sunset, and Gavin Rosdale's massaging my feet.
Just as an aside for any millennials out there, Gavin Rosdale was the lead singer of UK-based rock band Bush, of which I'm a fan. Much like the previous scene, this sets us up for the episode's premise.
Do you think Giles ever played anywhere but here when he was in school?
Giles lived for school. He's actually still bitter that there were only 12 grades.
Despite his bumbling persona, you still get a real sense of the man underneath.
Do you want me to answer that, or shall I just glare?
Giles tends to let this out in short, sharp bursts through the first season and early second season. Jenny comes along.
Morning, England.
And finally someone says what I've been thinking this whole time.
Look at them.
A twosome of cuteness.
Jenny's ribbon of Giles is delightful, and they eat up the scenery when they're together. It's funny in a show that's all about teens and teen romance, it's actually the adults that have the most chemistry. In previous watches, I never paid much mind to the kiss. But, watching the show again with a more critical eye, I find that things that I found insignificant have more meaning or weight to them.
Yeah, it's life on the Hellmouth.
Let's face it, none of us are ever going to have a happy, normal relationship.
We're doomed.
Yeah.
Giles gets to the library, where we find the police waiting for him. Cordy storms in, self-absorbed as always.
Cordelia!
What? Why does everyone always yell my name? I'm not deaf.
Giles attends the morgue and confirms the dead man was in fact his friend. Buffy is stalking out the hospital on her own, when she happens across a blood deal and Angel turns up.
Know about this?
It's delivery day.
It's little things like this that helps to round out the fantasy elements and make them feel real and lived in. I mean, of course it's delivery day. How do you not know?
Everybody knows about this.
Concerned about Giles, Buffy goes to his house, where she is met with a very different person than she's used to. Giles attempts to contact another friend to find out that she is also recently deceased. This along with the demeanour telling us that Giles may be in some trouble as he crosses a name off a list in a book, where only 2 remain. Giles, speaking to his reflection, is in reference to the demon hunting him, but, more so, an acknowledgement of the resurgence of another side of him. We only saw a brief glimpse of the Ripper in the episode Halloween. The reflection in the mirror is like seeing his younger self talking back to him. Back at school, Xander is making a comment that will age badly.
You know, computers are on the way out. I think paper's going to make a big comeback.
Buffy confides in Jenny about Giles.
I think he might have been... I think he was drinking.
Xander is being, well, classic Xander.
Yep, I knew this would happen. Nobody can be wound as straight and narrow as Giles without a dark side erupting.
But there are a couple of points to note in this. Firstly, he's right about Giles. As discussed in my Giles video, he most certainly does have a darker side. But also, he makes a good point about the prospects of those wound so tightly. Finally,
my Uncle Rory was the stodgiest taxidermist you've ever met by day. By night it was booze, whores, and fur flying.
As is often the case with stories of Xander's family, they seem to be less than stellar members of society. Buffy heads to the library, where she finds Ethan Raines skulking, and he fills her in on the mark of Igon. Philip turns up, and Buffy secures him, while Cordy, secures Ethan. Giles turns up and releases a little more of the same intensity we saw in Halloween.
Why did he call him Ripper?
You should have left when I told you.
Oh.
Philip escapes before we get too much exposition. Ethan then escapes, and Jenny is infected. When Buffy returns, she is rightly pissed.
It's complicated, Buffy, and quite frankly, it's private.
I don't care if I'm private.
It's good seeing the authoritarian leader come out in her, and clear that Giles isn't thinking clearly, as he thought that warding her off would stop her. Cordy has been getting closer with the Scoobies this season.
What?
What about me? I care about Giles.
And though not a full-fledged member, for me this is the moment where she becomes one. Sure, she's still a little rough around the edges, but she actually does care. Ever the bookworm, Willow finds the information on Igon that helps them to understand how Igon moves around and sets us up for the climax. Meanwhile, Igon goes about seducing Giles in a scene that feels wrong. You gotta give it to Rabia Scott. Her physicality selling both the sensual aspects and the jerky, twisted motion of someone possessed, but it's still wrong. Buffy shows up just in time to stop Igon, and Giles finally explains his past and how Igon came to be.
I was 21. Studying history at Oxford. I fell in with the worst crowd that would have me. We practiced magics, and Ethan and I discovered something bigger.
There is a key element to this confession, and that's the overwhelming pressure of destiny.
I hated it. The tedious grind of study, the overwhelming pressure of my destiny.
Unlike Buffy, Giles ran from his. Buffy leaves him to wallow while she goes looking for Igon's other potential victim. Ethan, however, has other plans. There's something that feels a little more sinister with Ethan and what he's doing here. Aside from sending Igon after Buffy instead of himself, he also violates her by giving her a tattoo against her will. While researching, we get another glimpse of Willow's skills as a de facto leader, void of Buffy and Giles.
Hey!
When Igon shows up, there is an ominous green light, and it gets me every time. Like, why? And why does it disappear when she enters the room? Buffy gets free just in time, before Giles runs in to save her, before Angel runs in to save him, before Willow runs into... Oh, no wait. Oh, okay, I think that's it. Angel forces Igon to jump into the nearest dead body, being his own, and after, he explains what happened.
I've had a demon inside me for a couple 100 years. Just waiting for a good fight.
The next day, the Scoobs are reflecting.
Maybe you should consider a career as a watcher.
Oh no, I don't think I could handle the stress.
I think Willow would make a pretty decent watcher, if she was to remain on the straight and narrow. Giles tries to catch up with Jenny, who is now giving him the cold shoulder. The episode ends on a sour note for Rupenny, and Buffy learns a new lesson about being an adult.
I'm so used to you being the grown-up, and then I find out that you're a person.
Though not my favourite plot device, the episode does do a good job of furthering our understanding of Giles and his character. His sense of duty and doing what's right is born from doing what's wrong. Magic in the show is seen to be a metaphor for addiction. Giles is against Willow practicing magic as the season progresses, and the reason is here. Giles dabbled in magic before trying something a little stronger.
It was an extraordinary high.
This led to the death of his friend, and set him back on the right path. Xander's comment,
Nobody can be wound as straight and narrow as Giles without a dark side erupting.
could be foreshadowing for Willow, who can be wound equally as tight. Also, Jenny has always been the yin to Giles' yang, the easygoing party girl. Being so close up and personal with real danger had an overall effect on her, causing her to retreat a little. Angel's role in the episode is short but significant. He works as the MacGuffin to stop Igon, but its reasoning is there to remind us that there is also a demon inside of him, looking for a fight. It's interesting that it's Angel that saves Jenny, considering what's coming. The episode is set up to feel like Willow's plan only works due to his unique situation. So in a weird way, she's on borrowed time. Time only afforded to her by Angel, and then taken away by Angelus.
Winner and still champion.
Unfortunately, Buffy may live to regret that remark.